Wow. Welcome to STARCARD Podcast. Here at STARCARD Podcast, we get a glimpse at the age of Aquarius ahead of us. My name is Breakaway Ray. I like talking about the breakaway civilizations because we're breaking away from the one we're in now. Happy Friday, everyone. You've tuned in to a live tarot throw. Today is February 20th, 2026. It's 5-Card Friday. This is how we're going to start the show. We're going to throw 5 tarot cards to deliver to you an inspirational message, something positive to pump you up on a Friday morning. And that message is going to come straight from the tarot cards, straight from the tarot world. Then we're going to talk about the science of dreaming. And then finally, we'll have tarot for the audience. So if you're tuning in live and you'd like a tarot card reading later on in the show, maybe about a half an hour from now, please type in the chat, tarot, please. And I'm going to check those notes in about 30 minutes. And I'm so happy to throw cards for everybody. So welcome to STARCARD Podcast. Let's go to the tarot cam. Well, I got to do a better job of getting my studio organized here. Let me move the computer out of the way, everybody. I want to say good morning to Namira. I see she's already in the chat. Thanks for joining me, Namira. It's early where I am. Maybe it's almost bedtime where you're at. It's 5-Card Friday. Here we go. As usual, the tarot world has been in the green room, ready to go on stage since the last time we turned on the camera. So I know it can't wait to share an inspirational message with you on this Friday morning, or whenever you happen to click on this recording. Here we go. It's 5-Card Friday. The top card, the bottom card. We're going to fan for one in the middle. Then we're going to cut to fill in those gaps. All right. Hey, this is for entertainment purposes only. We're already having fun. We're living the dream because we're throwing tarot cards around the planet 24 hours a day, whatever time zone you're in. Let me get the light the way I like it. That's pretty good. First up, hooray. Where's my magnifying glass? Yay. It's the Queen of Swords. The Queen of Swords is the card that tells me, Breakaway Ray, you were right. Wow, check that out. It's the Wheel of Fortune card. The Wheel of Fortune talks about good luck and bad luck, which is really just luck, right? It talks about cycles going up and down. It also makes a strong suggestion about timelines and things coming when they're appointed to, when their appointed time is, like a roulette wheel. That ball's going to drop on a certain one when it's its time. This really sounds like a Friday message for us. So before I reveal this next card, which I already took a peek at, okay, you know what? It is Friday, and let's remember, it's another week. The wheel goes round and round, and there's always ups and downs. Speaking of downs, it's the 5 of Swords card. The 5 of Swords card talks about abusive relationships and winner-take-all attitudes. And I think, like, even though I would say the anti-hero in this image is the person in the foreground, okay? But at the same time, I would say that might be our attitude on a Friday afternoon. The work week is done. I'm smiling because I'm out of here. I get to go get refreshed this weekend. It's time for that. Wow. The Queen of Cups, does this look like someone enjoying her happy hour, for example, with whatever refreshing beverage you might like? Okay. So now that it's Friday afternoon, the Queen of Cups can sit in repose and organize her thoughts and feelings and wrap up the week mentally so she can enjoy the weekend 100%. When the whistle blows at 5 o'clock, Fred Flintstone jumps out the window, slides down the dinosaur, and gets into his car and starts driving because the work week is over. All right. Well, that really makes it look like we turn this 5 of Swords card upside down at that point when we're talking about the glee and joy of Fred Flintstone. Okay. And wow, check it out, everybody. It's Friday. It's the 10 of Cups. It's a dream come true. Do you want to have the dream come true? Well, this doesn't sound healthy. Compartmentalize. Um, I should have said handle it like the Queen of Cups, because that's how you get to be an empress. You might be really focusing on this one card. It might be spinning around in your mind from day to day. And so in a certain way, you have to compartmentalize. You have to put it on the back burner. You can't deal with it. You got other things on your schedule you got to take care of. But if you do happen to, get the end of your work week on a Friday and you have the chance for repose, don't forget to process this card, okay? Recognize what's going on. Realize it's such a small part of your whole existence. And if you want to, try to reflect on instances like this from different parts of your life and see how faint they are to you now. So again, we're going to turn this winner take all card upside down, although this guy looks like he's ready for the weekend too. We're going to sit in repose as the Queen of Cups because the weekend is a dream come true, and there should be like an Eight of Swords card here because it can only be as much of a dream come true as you can make it. Use your imagination to, make it the best weekend you possibly can. You've already taken care of whatever was on your mind. That means you went out and you took a jog, you talked to a friend, you worked on your hobby, you created, you wrote it in a journal. That's a good way to compartmentalize things. Process it later if you gotta. All right. Hey, Tarot World. A lot of wisdom in those cards. I hope I did a good job interpreting them. Thank you very much. Let me give these a toss, and we'll go to some programming notes. I'd like to toss those one more time. Thank you very much, Tarot World. All right. Oh, you know what? Well, okay. I think I will come upstairs. All right. So we're going to be talking about the neuronautic science, right? Dream exploration. And my perspective today is going to be running it through different layers of awareness, from being awake to being in a suggested trance to the actual deep dream state. I'm going to explore those ideas. And if you check the description, in case you're new here at StarCard Podcast, I want you to know that there's a lot of links there to videos that I've learned from, in case you're curious about where my peculiar perspective comes from. And I also invite you to check out StarCard Podcast. We have a lot of playlists there featuring secret space program experiencers and psychics. So I do invite you to explore in case you want more Breakaway Ray. All right. Well, I want to share this with you first because it's really cool. I was at a fair in Ventura, and I'm thinking it must have been 1985 or 86. And I spotted something that was a prize in one of the booths, and I wanted it really bad. It was up on the wall showing you what you could win. And so I went ahead and played the game. I don't know what game it was, but I won the game, and I was pretty stoked because I was also with a lady friend, and I felt like, things were going well there. So anyway, I won, and I said, I want that thing on the wall there. And the guy behind the counter said, you can't have that one because, that's not one of the prizes. I'm all, it's up there on the wall. That's the one I want. And so anyway, what had to happen was I had to bribe him. I had to like go buy tickets and get the little, because in the old days you had tickets that were like perforated, So anyway, it was not digital is the point. So I had to go buy some tickets, stick a $20 bill in there, and then hand him the tickets. And then he pretended to let me play. I think I won again. It didn't matter. Well, he got a screwdriver and he went up and he got this thing down. I'm going to show it to you right now. I think I need to throw a little light on it. All right, here we go. Yeah, it's a mirror. See, there you are. There's there you are. There's the camera. It's a mirror of the record album from a band called The Police called Ghost in the Machine. And you can see the three members of the band there. You have Andy Summers. He's the guitarist. I believe he used to hang out with Robert Fripp, another avant-garde style guitarist. Okay, he's got great style. Maybe you recognize Sting. He was born Gordon Sumner. And then there's Stuart Copeland, and his dad was in the CIA, I think. By the way, I had the chance of meeting Andy Summers quite by accident. I was heading down to Los Angeles to the Federal Building, which is over in the neighborhood of UCLA, I think. I think it's an old world building, in fact. Anyway, I was going into the Federal Building to have an interview to join the Peace Corps, which I never did. And I want to thank the gentleman who interviewed me. So now I'm going to stop the story and come upstairs. Didn't think I was going to be telling this story. This is why I need to have notes so I don't get off track, right? So it had to be somewhere around 1985 or 6, probably 1986. The police were, they really had made their big bang already. They were already on their 5th record, Synchronicity. They were on tour. I think that was already done at that point. And it might even have approached the point where the band was going to break up. I don't really remember if it had happened yet or not. But anyway, I was going to go into the Federal Building. I was going to sign up and join the Peace Corps. I was going to, I had a little French under my belt from high school, and I thought that I would go to Africa and practice French and then go into the diplomatic world someday. And that never happened. So I went up to the interview. I'm going to say this gentleman's name. He is an adult. Okay. I don't know where he is now. I haven't I haven't really talked to the guy since that interview 40 something years ago. Yeah, it was 40 years ago. How about that? Gilberto Quinones. So he interviewed me, and he said, we want you to finish your college degree, before we take you in the Peace Corps. And I was at that point, I'd had enough of the classes. I'm let's just get things jump started. Let me join the Peace Corps. He wouldn't let me join until I finished my degree. So I want to say thank you to Gilberto Quinones, because I got my degree. And once I got my degree, other doors opened for me where I didn't need to leave North America and practice a new language and probably live and try to survive in a way that I wouldn't have managed well at all. So things worked out better for me in that sense. So thanks to Gilberto. Anyway, let's go back downstairs. Before I go in the building, I'm going into the building. Andy Summers is coming out of the building. I go, Andy Summers, what are you doing here? He's all, well, I'm getting my citizenship. He's going to become a U.S. citizen. He's from Great Britain, I think. So anyway, it was a quick conversation. I don't know if I shook his hand or anything. I told him what I was doing, and it was like a 25-second exchange. I'm all, I should have said thank you or something. I'm sure I said I was a good fan. But anyway, that's Andy Summers, and I got this mirror, and it's pretty cool. Checking around. There's you guys on the computer, and all right, let me put this down. Why did I mention that? Well, it probably comes up in the speech. I have a bunch of notes I'm going to go over, everybody. Welcome to STARCARD Podcast. I try to contain my thoughts so I don't lose my place. So let's start off talking about things called synchronicities. Maybe you experience them all the time and you recognize them. A song comes on the radio and just happens to match up with what you were thinking about, even like a TV program or dialogue in a program, even from channel to channel to channel. It seems to all string together a message for you somehow. Is the TV talking to you? Welcome to STARCARD Podcast. We welcome those kinds of experiences. Anyway, on with synchronicities. You're thinking of someone and that person happens to call or text. Let's see, what have I got? Yeah, we call these quote unquote meaningful coincidences, but psychologist Carl Jung, Jung, explored this concept. It's called a synchronicity. So by the way, speaking of synchronicity, I happen to mention the album by the Police, Synchronicity, and there are 2 songs named Synchronicity on that album. All right. So I wanted to tell you, because it's so easy for me anyway to dismiss synchronicities because you know what? No, growing up, when I grew up in the last half of the 20th century, that kind of stuff is like, it's spiritual woo-woo. It's just a coincidence. It doesn't mean anything. Okay. So what? There's some number, if the numbers really worked, whatever, go to Las Vegas, bet on that number or whatever. So anyway, it was getting to be a time in my life before I had my little spur of awakening, probably before I was 50 years old, more than a decade ago. I'm driving around my town and I happen to be, running through my mind as I usually do. My mind is on overdrive, if you cannot tell, right? I got too many things going on. So anyway, but when you're driving, you get in that little bit of a trance because you kind of have to pay attention to something. but like when you're swimming, you can still kind of keep the gears going, or when you're jogging and things like that, when you're working out. So anyway, I'm driving down the road, coming up to the freeway. It's a 4-way intersection, and the red light comes on, and all the traffic stops. But as the traffic stops, I notice that, I don't know exactly what the numbers were, everybody, but the numbers did include the number 34. And there was a 34 on my clock. There was at least one 34 on my odometer. And then there were like 5 cars around me, and they all had 34s on their license plates. And, you say to yourself, well, that's quite a coincidence. But someone like me, I'm starting to get nervous. I'm all, come on. It's too crazy. It's too wild. Based on what I've learned now, I would encourage myself to be fantastical and use my imagination and say, you know what? That's how sacred geometry works, Ray. When you elevate to such a perception that you can look down on everything and see that it's all just the same matrix over and over and over again, you can make adjustments, but until you're aware of what the patterns are, you're not going to get anywhere. Anyway, after that day, when I started seeing those numbers all over the place and they kept repeating, I said, you know what? There's this thing called the internet. I'm carrying it around on my phone. Again, I don't want to get into computers and digital. I know, like, the internet's like it's just like a city, of course. There's all kinds. There's too much stuff going on. I don't need all that stuff. But anyway, I started looking up what some of these numbers meant. I mean, this is way before I even knew really what tarot cards were, for sure. I mean, I've only been throwing tarot cards. I've been throwing tarot cards less than a year. I'm talking about like a decade ago. It's been a very slow process for me. But these synchronicities kept on happening over and over again, and I couldn't stop noticing them. And had I been smarter and more determined, I would have written a lot more about them in my journals. But for a long time, that's not what I was writing about. Unfortunately, I was writing about something else. That's how my time was consumed. Anyway, let's go back to the synchronicities. Let's stay focused. Okay. I can't actually say this one because it involves showing you a photograph. I have to edit it. It didn't work. So we'll talk about that one some other time. All right. So, hey, everybody. I'm the host of STARCARD podcast right now, but in a previous career, I was a school teacher. And I want to tell you about something I did, and I believe that they were probably 4th graders when I was doing this. Yeah, I think they were 4th graders, actually. I taught for 33 years, if I didn't already mention it. And so anyway, one of the activities I did was to invite the children, because I'm an English lit major. I'm a playwright. I'm a published author. You can check out my books in the description. I got links to Let's Go Off Planet with Breakaway Ray and the Convoluted Autobiography, where some of today's ideas come from. Okay. So anyway, I was encouraging the kids, and in those days, we were just on the precipice of integrating laptops into the classroom. So we were still using pencil and notebooks and things like that. And I feel like that's important, but I'm not going to get into why right now. So anyway, I'd have the students open up their notebooks, which I invite you to do right now in case there's anyone who saw the note in the post. If you have a dream journal, okay, you may want to take it out. We're not necessarily going to explore your dreams, but you may want to have your journal handy. That's fine, in case you just want to make notes. Of course, you don't have to, because this will be a recording. You can come back and play it later. That's part of my plan too. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to say some sentences as if I was speaking to the class, encouraging them to use their imagination to create an inner writing studio for themselves, one in their imagination. So in the classroom, I would invite them all to close their eyes. I'm not going to force anyone. There's no point in doing that. But I would, at this point, especially at this time in the year, I would say like February, March, we have quite a good groove going, quite a good sense of esprit de corps in our class, and the kids really do trust their teacher. So what I'm trying to say is everybody, or almost everybody, closed their eyes and participated. Nowadays, I'm not sure how far that would get, but in those days, even if it was just like 8 years ago, would have been 8 years ago, would have been like 10, 12 years ago, okay, things were slightly different, even in the classroom. I know that things are even more different today. So anyway, here's what I would do. I would invite them to close their eyes. after we set up their notebook, right? Because when we open our eyes and we're ready to write, I want their notebook all ready to go. They can't be an excuse. Oh, I got to find my book. I got to sharpen my pencil. No, get it all ready right now. Leave it on your desk. Okay, ready? Get comfortable in your chair. Close your eyes. All right, right now we're going to imagine that you're going down an escalator. So imagine you're going down this escalator, and it's like the longest escalator you've ever seen. Not only that, when you're looking down the escalator to see where it goes, you can't see where it goes because it's really dark. And I want to say that only you know what's going on. Even though you hear my voice and I'm giving you directions, I want you to know I don't know what's going on in your mind. This is your own private path. So anyway, as we get down to the bottom of the escalator, I remind them to watch their step at the bottom of the escalator. Okay, and there's a door. And of course, that door is one that only they would know about. Only they could see what the doorknob looked like, whether the door had any windows, whether there were any decorations on the door, whether it was just a plain old door, or maybe it was a hidden door or a barn door, whatever kind of door you got. It's your door. You decide what kind of door it is. All right, so now that you've decided what kind of door it is, go ahead and open the door. Did you need a key? Only you have the key. Did you use biometrics? I didn't say this part, everybody, but it sounds cool right now. You know, you just put your thumbprint out and then bam, your DNA lets you into your own private writing studio. Welcome. Do you like the way it looks? Because only you know the way it looks. So why don't you look around and decorate it the way you want? There's got to be a table because this is a writing exercise. So I want you to make sure you have a table there, and I want you to imagine a notebook there. It could be the same notebook that's on your desk right now, but maybe it's a different notebook. And you know what? When you look at that notebook, you might flip through the pages and see some other writing. It is your writing, perhaps. There seems to be writing there. You know, it's your writing studio. Only you would know what's written in that book. So anyhow, we would bring the activity to a close after they're done. You know, I'd give them like a few minutes to hang around quietly without listening to my voice in their writing studio, taking care of business and getting it set up for the next time they want to come down and visit. Okay. And then we would reverse the process. We would get out of the studio, close the door, lock it if we need to, go up the escalator. And then when they would open their eyes, I'd say, okay, well, you already know what the topic was. We talked about it before we got started. Now you guys get to write. I think actually what happened was we started the lesson by inviting them to, we did this afterwards. They did draw a picture with their crayons in their notebook of what the door looked like. And then they wrote what they did in their room, in their studio. And then here's the part I wanted to share because this part surprised me. I have no training in hypnosis. If I've read any books on hypnosis, I haven't read them all the way through. And another thing I would say is that I let all the students know that I was going to do something that sounds like hypnosis, but no one can be hypnotized if they do not choose to be hypnotized. I know we got secret space program experiencers in the house, and they would beg to differ a little bit on that point. But, just in general, not those extenuating circumstances, you choose to follow whatever directions or suggestions you follow in general, right? Not the industrial stuff. Okay, so let me make sure. Oh, yeah. So there was one student in my class. Her name was Olivia. And when we were done with the activity, she wondered out loud. Again, not something she normally did. She didn't speak out of turn a lot, but there was definitely a repose and a quiet in the room. And she broke the silence and said, "Why do I feel so relaxed?" And she was kind of delighted. And we're talking about a 9-year-old kid here. And then there was another student who every time we did a writing activity, she wanted to do the whole thing all over again. And I was afraid, I regretted telling her. I said, we don't have that many minutes in the day, but that's great that you really like doing that. And now you have your studio. You can go there anytime. I know you like to write. I know you like to create. You could do it at your house too. I wish we had more time. There's things we got to get done before the end of the week or what have you. Okay, so I wanted to share those responses with you from my clients in the classroom. All right, and so where does all that get us? So I wrote this down so I would get it right, okay? So controlling where your mind goes when you're awake is good practice from when you're dreaming. Okay. That's where it starts, right? Can you monitor and control your thoughts, or at least observe them while you're awake? That's the first start. And I know that everyone has heard about the Buddhist monks saying that if you want to deal with the monkey mind and the chatter, you have to first observe it, and then you can step aside from it. Okay. All right. And so now we're going to move on to being an Oneironaut. I've spelled it in the description. That is someone who's like an astronaut, but you explore your dreams. Some of us would say, you mean like astral traveling? For sure. What else do I know? Probably not much more than you. Let's find out what I got to say about it. So, oh yeah, okay. So I'd like to mention the book by Tony Rodrigues, the Secret Space Program Experiencer, one of the OGs, his book series, Colony Cavalier. In that book, he's a slave to an off-world German, yeah, you have to say it's fascist because the government owns the corporation. It's Ceres Colony Corporation. Planet Ceres is out by the asteroid belt. I know I didn't grow up hearing about Planet Ceres either. So anyway, he's a slave aboard a retrofitted submarine out in Planet Ceres there, and they would go on missions. And when they went on, well, missions or delivery runs or trade runs or whatever, whatever business they had, when they went on those things, they were traveling in space, and that means also traveling through time. And sometimes they would have a strategy, a protocol for sending out their ship and making it return 5 minutes before they actually depart. So this way, if they come back 5 minutes before they depart and they check and see everything's okay, then they know that they'll be safe when they go on the mission. You want me to repeat that? Go back and press like the 30-second button. I'll try one more time. So it's 8 o'clock in the morning. That's when they're supposed to depart. But they have already sent someone ahead. Oh, sorry. I'm going to start over, everyone. They leave at 8 o'clock in the morning, but they schedule it so that when they come back at, they come back outside where they are so they can see themselves at 7:55 a.m., 5 minutes before they leave. And so if they arrive in the right spot and everything's okay, then they know it's a safe mission and they can go. But if something goes wrong, then at 8 o'clock, they don't go on the mission. They anti-telephone. And this also involves, there's an after effect. Check this out, because we know about the ether all around us and the Akashic record. I mean, these vibrations that we all live in. Well, there's vibrations out there also. Dreaming is different when you're not on surface planet Earth. And Tony Rodrigues describes this. He's described this in interviews as well. So what he says is, dreams are so important that a few days after they have anti-telephone, they will call everyone on the ship in, and it will be a requirement that they have to tell what they dreamed about. Even the slaves. Everyone's dreams are important. It's all data. It's all data that they need to use to figure out why they couldn't go on that trade mission. What were they trying to sort out? They may just come through in symbols, but if they compile the data like they do with remote viewers, okay, they can get a good picture of what's going on. So let me see if I've got all that. Yeah, I got it. All right. And it sounds like science fiction, that thing that I just said about scientists on the spaceship, on the retrofitted submarine that is now a spaceship at Planet Ceres. Scientists, part of the military order of things aboard, okay, they require people to discuss their dreams, not for hand-holding or anything like that, right? For data, because your subconscious can see things. That's why we have psychics. That's why you're psychic. Thanks for tuning in. I hope you're having a good time. But what I want to say about what those scientists, those off-world Germans are doing, that's old school practice of 20th century Germany mind control. That's the stuff they were doing, right around the era of World War II, which they brought over with Operation Paperclip. Okay. We could launch from there. But anyway, let's go to my next page. So there's a phenomenon going on right now, one called Mall World, where people share dreams and meet up in a place that looks like a mall. I'm not going to get into the dynamics too much. I think everybody's way more familiar with it than I am, but it did happen to make an appearance in a conversation I had with Julia Ankerhaven and Tennessee, Kentucky Bigfoot. And in the video, Tennessee, Kentucky Bigfoot strikes back. And that's in the Tennessee, Kentucky Bigfoot sightings playlist at STARCARD Podcast. That was done just on the 17th of February, 2026. So there was some discussion of that, and not to recap everything, but basically the idea of a quote unquote mall world is that there's gatherings in dreams, and I guess there were some students who created their own. Let me see. Let me double check my notes, make sure I understood what I wrote here. There we go. I think I follow myself now. All right. So in the case of the mall worlds, I guess some students are in the dream state and they're all connecting in the dream state so that they can all have fun, like have recess in the mall and run like another world going on, kind of like you do nowadays. Again, I didn't grow up with this stuff, but when kids go online or adults go online too, and they play with people over the internet, or how about this part? I'm I'm throwing cards for people I don't know in the chat. Okay, how am I doing on time? Ooh, I'm going farther than I wanted to, everybody. Anyway, so what we're talking about though is collective intention. Maybe right now, all of our intention together is to hang out and let Breakaway Ray tell some stories, maybe have some laughs and to get our fortunes told in a moment. Okay, but then think about it throughout history. Churches get together, people congregate in the congregation with a collective intention to send positive energy towards people. It happens in temples and synagogues. It happens in stadiums. What about that home field advantage? Okay, there's a lot to say about collective intentions and the collective power of remote viewing, or more importantly, the collective power of remote influencing. I'm speaking very amateurishly and informally about this, but there's a science to it and there's a program to it, and any public relations person or firm or company understands this stuff. Everybody who can provoke emotions with little 30-second video clips on the internet understands this. Collective intention is really important. It really shapes reality. So hang on, everybody. Let's see things clearly and hold on to our seats because we're not quite done here. Yeah, here's what I wanted to say. Maybe when I turn off the camera, I'm thinking about what happened when the camera was on, and maybe some of the things I say and some of the things we share together, especially when I'm throwing tarot cards, maybe that's something you reflect upon and you build upon. I'm grateful that you're welcoming me into your home. I don't take it for granted. I appreciate you sharing your time with me. It's really great. And I also want to say that when I think about it, I find that the ideal version, the dream version of StarCard Podcast Studios feels almost like the real thing. Like if I dreamed or imagined that I was doing this right now, and I got the little blue bubbles and the the pictures, etc., running down my chat, I can imagine that, and I would get the same sensation. I'd get the same vibration. So I want to say, everybody, you're welcome to hang out with me at StarCard Podcast Studios, and I know you know what I'm talking about. If you're having a good time here and you get a laugh out of this, it's great to be together, isn't it? All right. So let me see. I think I'm on my last page here, everybody. All right. Here at StarCard Podcast, we cheer each other on. We recognize accelerating profound change in our lives. And I want to add, we recognize that it's a blessing because a long time from now, this will all seem like kindergarten to us. We think that these are big changes afoot. A great expansion, in about 10 years from now, again, it's going to look like baby stuff and baby steps, but baby steps count too. Okay. I think my closing remark is, yeah, you're all welcome here. You can all have fun on the playground with me together. And now, here's where I go. Normally, at the end of a conversation about dreams, I would encourage you to take out your dream journal, right? If you start religiously writing down your dreams, like those scientists aboard that ship, I wonder if I can remember the name of his spaceship. Anyway, if if you're making careful notes like a scientist, you're probably going to get a lot of information, a lot of insight, a lot of precognition of what's coming at you in the grand scheme of things. But I'm not going to pull out my dream journal. I'm going to go further. I'm going to have a conversation with the tarot cards about my own personal dream because I got a dream where I keep showing up at a particular pool. I really like this pool. It's a modest pool, but I keep seeing it in my dreams. So I'm going to ask the tarot world about my dream pool there and what's going on. I don't know what I'm going to hear. Let's go downstairs. See, I'm already having fun. I don't know what's going to happen. All right, so yeah, we're living the dream, and then I'm all, yo, what's up with that pool? All right, tarot, and I guess I'm going to stay. I mean, there's so many wonderful tarot decks I can use, but I'm going to stay with this one because when it comes to dreams and the unconscious, well, the subconscious, the collective conscious, old Robin Wood here also does a good job. Here we go, Tarot World. I know you know what dream I'm talking about. How come I keep seeing this pool? How come I like that? I mean, I like it a lot. It's a great pool. What's the deal? Is this a pool on another planet or someplace else where I'm living? That's a good question. Is this a pool from someplace else where I'm living? It's the 10 of Cups. It's a dream come true. Well, thank you, Tarot World. I presume I'm at the pool and also here on surface planet Earth. And I really like that place. It's not because I have to be there. I really like that place. Is that true? Page of Pentacles. It doesn't give me a sense of constriction. It almost looks like I'm looking at a snow globe and I see a new world. Well, Tarot World. Whoa. Did you see that? This card flipped over. Wow. Well, maybe I better just close on that. It's the King of Pentacles. So why don't I read about the King of Pentacles? And I had an inspiration to pull out the Ethereal Bloom Tarot guide deck, or guidebook rather. But remember, this one doesn't make things sound, it makes things sound a little bit more pragmatic. But let's take a look at what it says about the King of Pentacles in regards to that dream I was just discussing with the Tarot World, the King of Pentacles. We went from the Page of Pentacles to the King. Well, the Page of Pentacles, hang on, everybody. The Page of Pentacles talks about financial opportunities and planning. You might be at the start of a new job or venture to generate additional income. Take advantage of the opportunity by creating a plan with decisive action. Oh, man, that Tarot World is always like getting on my case to be more like, one of those 2 tarot people I follow and start a bunch of businesses. I don't want to start all these businesses. Anyway, that's part of the conversation I'm having with the Tarot World. This is a reminder that I have a great opportunity. And then what's probably going to happen, the King of Pentacles. This dream is a dream come true for a reason. The King of Pentacles, leadership, prosperity, and wealth. The King is you or a person in your life who develops a plan and leads the charge in projects. Thoughtful and methodical, his success brings wealth to himself and those around him. All right, I like that too. It gives me a deeper perception of myself that maybe I'm doing this on all the planets where I live. And I want to say, thank goodness it was a King of Pentacles, not some other card. Cool deal. Thank you, Tarot World. I think we're ready for tarot for the audience. Wow, we got so many wonderful friends in the chat. I'm going to come upstairs and I'm going to say hi to everyone in the chat. Then I'm going to find your name tags. And if you're new here and you want a reading, I'm going to make a name tag for you. All right, here we go. Let's see who's here. Yeah, I said hi to Namira already. Welcome back, Namira. Hey, Nancy. Nancy NP33. I'm not sure if that's the same Nancy, but anyway, Nancy, welcome. And I'm going to make sure I have a name tag for you. Sometimes people alter their names. You might be another Nancy. I got quite a few subscribers now. Okay. Hi, Lisa Talcott. Thanks for joining me again. Who else is here? Hey, Safe Haven. Welcome back. All right. Woo Rider. Hi, Derek. Hi, Desiree. Hope you're having a good Friday. Thanks for joining us. Hi, Arizona Raven. Good morning to you. You're up early as usual. Okay. Got you. Let me get the name tags out. All right, Lisa Talcott, your snow person has not melted yet. Let's see, Derek. I got a schoolhouse for Derek. All right. Got you, Safe Haven. Here you go. Arizona Raven. There you go, Arizona Raven. Oh, Namira. I think Namira has a schoolhouse. Yep. Here we go. Hey, Tarot World. That was quite remarkable. The dream come true card. It definitely feels like there's a personality in the room with me here. Okay, so did I miss any? Oh, Nancy. I thought I had a Nancy in here. All right, Nancy. Well, wait a minute. I got you, Nancy. All right. You have a schoolhouse. All right. So there's still time, everybody. We haven't even gotten started. If there's someone else who wants a reading and I missed you, please just drop your name in the chat. I'm happy to throw cards for you. All right. And now I'm going to go through the chat and check and see if people had particular requests. Okay, just to double check here. I don't see particular requests, so I'm going to go ahead and throw the cards, understanding that the Tarot World knows what you want to talk about. Let's go downstairs. I'm going to start with Namira, who was waiting even before the show started, before lunch, I guess. All right. These cards are for Namira. Oh, but I like throwing flower cards for Namira, or something prettier. Let's go with the old style. Here we go. Is that card still there? Yeah. So check it out, Namira. I was cutting the cards, and I didn't want to share this card, but now I want to make a joke out of it. You know, when there's a, can you see it okay? It's the 5 of Cups card, and you know what? When there's a newborn and the baby's finally taking a nap, the grown-up can take a break there, huh? All right, so let's throw some cards for Namira. All right, Tarot World, let's send a message to the Netherlands. Bright orange football jerseys. All right, these cards are for Namira. Breakaway Ray, don't talk about Delft porcelain and wooden clogs, okay? Let's not get carried away with our Dutch stereotypes. These cards are for Namira out in the Netherlands. First up, the 2 of Swords. It's the Crossroads card, but it also looks like, I mean, you could see this woman has two swords. She has all the tools waiting. All anyone needs to do is just call on her, and she's ready to leap into action. Could this be like another grandparent reading? I don't know. Oh, how wonderful. The lovers. Love is in the air. The Two of Pentacles. It does feel like another grandparent reading. You know, Two of Pentacles, you're juggling priorities, you're spinning some plates, okay? You're taking care of the baby and making the whole household work still. And then you feel like the King of Pentacles because it's so wonderful to have everything grooving like that. Now that you have a new life with a new family member. I'm hoping I'm getting this right. Anyway, wonderful cards. Always being in standby. I would love to be, this is a baseball analogy. I would love to be the relief pitcher, like, Rich the Goose Gossage from the 1970s New York Yankees, coming out of the bullpen just to throw for the ninth inning. He's got an arm, right? And everyone loves it when he comes out, because with just a couple of pitches, the game is over and the Yankees win. All right. Wow. This is the one deck that has a blank card, and I like to leave it in there. And then here's the Seven of Swords, which says that something's hidden or something's being revealed, or even somebody's getting away with something. So, hey, Namira, you get to use your imagination here. Whatever dynamics or whatever situation these dynamics reminded you of, okay, I guess it's up to you to decide what's really going on, what really needs to be paid attention to. Who better? You've been down this road before. You're not as blindfolded as it would seem. You've got intuition. All right. Hey, Namira, thanks for the practice. Thanks for inviting me to read. I hope that was a good one. I really like your participation, Namira. And that is a lovely picture in your avatar. Is that what they call that? Cool deal. Hey, here we go, Nancy. Yeah, you see what's going on. Let's see. Thank you again, Namira. Nancy, let's throw you some quick cards here. Thank you, Namira. These cards are for Nancy. You know what, Nancy? It says old style right on your schoolhouse. I'm going to go ahead and throw the old style again. Here we go, Nancy. These cards are for Nancy, who almost had her dream journal handy today. Here we go, Nancy. These cards are for Nancy. If I don't see her each day, I miss her. Gee, what a thrill each time I kiss her. Okay, we know that song. It's the Knight of Swords, defending yourself and charging forward energetically. It's the Seven of Pentacles, cultivating something, thinking long term, and really doing a good job. The Justice card. You're doing such a good job that there's going to be an effect to the cause of your charge and your cultivation. There's going to be balance, and there's some kind of righteousness waiting for you. How about the Two of Cups? A partnership, some kind of communication. It's probably going to come out of nowhere. The Sun card. You're watching STARCARD podcast. In your journey of your mind and your ideas, you're finding the right vibration and the right communication. And that's why the sun shines for you, Nancy. Wow, you got the blank card too, because you're the high priestess. That's pretty awesome. You know, there's a story called Heaven Can Wait. It's a movie. It starred a man named Warren Beatty. I think they did another version of it, but the one I'm thinking of was from like the 1970s. Yeah, they did one with Chris Rock in it, actually. It's a story about someone passing away. Ooh, that cartoon movie, the animated movie Soul. Was that almost the same one? Anyway, back to Heaven Can Wait. So there was a football player who dies or something. He dies or whatever, but he wants to come back to Earth and he takes over another body. Now really starting to sound like a StarCard podcast when you're inhabiting another body. Where am I going with this? Well, what I'm saying is, you know, you've got, you're like a fully developed, mature soul with a mind and experience and a history, and you got a blank slate. You got like a brand new car. You pick door number 2. This is card number 2. You pick door number 2 and reveal the brand new car, and you're ready to cruise and drive anywhere. So anyway, Nancy, that's pretty inspiring. Keep up the good work. Way to go. All 3 of these are work hard. It's paying off. You know, because you've heard about it before I told you. Sweet. Thanks for inviting me to read. Hey, God's Flow is here. Sweet. Hey, God's Flow. I'm going to get your name tag out. That was a pretty great reading. Thanks, Tarot World. There you are, God's Flow. All right. It's early for God's Flow, too. I know you're in the middle of the country. It's still early. Early to bed, early to rise. You know how that saying goes. Thanks, Ben Franklin. All right, God's Flow. Anyway, here we go. Who was I going to go to? Derek. Woo Riders. Here we go, Derek. I'm going to throw some cards for you. I got Safe Haven over there. Lisa Talcott. Oh, yeah, you got some snow this morning, God's Flow, huh? I guess the best part of that is that snow rhymes with God's Flow. You could definitely write a poem. All right, but these cards for Derek. Woo Riders. Cool deal. That's I'm really gratified to have you here. Do I keep on saying that? Thanks a lot for joining me, Derek. These cards are for Derek. Thanks, Derek. I think I see Kimberly Bamford in the. I'm going to have to get her snow person out soon. All right. Here we go, Derek. It's the 5 of Cups guy. It talks about disappointment, regret, failure, disappointment, pessimism, loss, and grief. We're going to turn that card upside down soon. Oh, the 9 of Swords. Anxiety, worry, fear, depression, nightmares, insomnia, hopelessness, trauma, and despair. I apologize for chuckling. I'm not laughing at your unhappiness. I'm so sorry. I'm laughing at the awkwardness of we have a lot of work to do. We got to turn these cards upside down. Let's see what the rest of these cards have to say. Oh, dude, the 5 of Pentacles. Financial loss, lack of mindset, loss, isolation, worry, need, and insecurity. Hey, Derek, this is for entertainment purposes only. It doesn't mean that these cards mean anything, but I'm still going to make a plan to turn all these upside down. I have not seen a string of cards like that before. I haven't been around that long. Anyway, yay. How about some Knight of Cups for you? The Knight in Shining Armor. Let's read about the Knight of Cups. Creativity. Maybe that's the whole answer right there. Being creative. Romantic. Charm. Yeah, don't forget that great partnership you have going there and a great family. Here's the word imagination. So we hear creativity, imagination, beauty, knight in shining armor, following the heart, Prince Charming, and proposals. Of course, myself, I'm going to suggest that you're the knight in shining armor, because from my perspective, it's all about, taking care of yourself first, making your own tree green first before you worry about the rest of the forest. But I feel like I'm just familiar enough with you to know that you have a very strong family unit. So you have a team that you work with. Yay! I'm so relieved. There's the magician for you. The magician: action, creation, manifestation, power, self-confidence, clarity, willpower, skill, and creativity. We hear imagination and creativity. We see a knight in shining armor who is a magician. And look, the knight in shining armor and the magician, these are the guys that make it through to the end after whatever this long struggle is, which is both, mental, maybe physical or financial. There's no need to look back on it in a disappointed way, because remember, you had 2 cups. You had 2 cups that still work. These 3 may have fallen down, whatever. You still got 2 cups. And as a magician, you were able to use that cup to keep the magic coming. Look, this is the other cup over there. The Knight of Cups has it. Nice. There's your 2 cups. You knew what to do after the disappointment. You handled it correctly. Way to go, dude. Oh, so now that you've turned your world upside down using your magic and things have fallen apart, guess what? You got everything you need to go. You could take off the blindfold anytime. You're at a crossroads. You get to make a decision. I almost want to throw another card, but I feel like it should be a blank card. Is there some kind of choice coming your way? It's going to sound trite. It's going to sound hackneyed. Follow your heart. Use your intuition. Use your family's collective intention. Well, thank you very much again for joining me, Derek. I hope that was a fun reading. I think it was a fun story, no matter who was listening to it. Let me give these a toss. And whoa, I got another name tag to collect. There we go, Kimberly Bamford. Yeah, your snowman has not melted yet either. All right. We're going to go to Safe Haven. All right, Safe Haven. I'm going to throw some ethereal bloom for you. Thanks again for joining me. I really appreciate your participation. And thanks for your subscription. Thanks for tuning in and see all the magic. I don't see how I can be so skeptical. This is magic every time. Here we go, Safe Haven. These cards are for you. Thanks a lot for joining us, Safe Haven. These cards are for Safe Haven. This is for entertainment purposes only. But hey, yo, Tarot World, you don't have to be so dramatic. 6 of Pentacles, giving and receiving. The Queen of Cups. Let's go to the book on the Queen of Cups. This might sound like someone you know. The Queen of Cups. The universe is sending compassionate, nurturing energy, using you or someone in your life as its vehicle. Support others and trust in your heart. There may be a lot of love and encouragement filling the relationship. Listen to your heart and be empathetic as you grow your connection. So there's some kind of giving and receiving, and it's deep and for real. And the 3 of Pentacles talks about a new beginning and implementing something and teamwork. I want to make a wry quip that maybe someone had a very nice Valentine's Day. Justice talks about righteousness, balance, and cause and effect. And then the 10 of Wands, while it does talk about a lot of work, maybe a long journey getting there, but look at how great we look at the end after all that work, after all that time and commitment. Well, let's see how the story ends for Safe Haven. We have the 7 of Pentacles and the Queen of Pentacles. All right, I think I'm going to throw another vote towards my Valentine's Day remark. The 7 of Pentacles talks about cultivating and growing things. And we were kind of hinting at a relationship and some teamwork there. And you have 2 queens here. And this Queen of Pentacles is the efficient, practical, working parent, perhaps. So I don't know how much of this resonates with you, Safe Haven, but it really looks like, I keep thinking you got 2 queens, and that's what it's all about. It's a rich experience on every level, from the cups and the hearts to the pentacles and the practicality of the day-to-day real life. And you've been watching it all grow, and the flowers have been showering around you as you go. So anyway, congratulations, I say. Thank you again for inviting me to read. I appreciate it. I like these cards. All right. Next up, I got Lisa Talcott. All right, Lisa. Thanks for following me around on the internet. I saw you over at Rob's show, I think, and I appreciate your comments. It's great having a fan. That's awesome. I want to go back to Ethereal Bloom. Here we go, Lisa. These cards are from Lisa Talcott. Making it fun, keeping it real on the internet. Lisa Talcott, the Curly Neal of the chat at StarCard Podcast. These cards are for Lisa. This one wanted to come out. Here we go. All right. Sorry for the delay, everybody. Lisa Talcott. Let's start with the moon and talk about the subconscious. Yeah, I had dogs in my dream last night, too. 2 German Shepherds. I didn't ask about those guys. The 3 of Swords. Some kind of heartache going on, some kind of pain. The Knight of Cups. Well, not for long. Here comes the Knight of Cups. He's the knight in shining armor. I'm going to turn it over. All right. Next up, it's the King of Swords. Authority, mental clarity, truth. Let's remember, by the way, mental clarity and truth has a higher ranking, the King, than the Knight of Cups. Just because we turn our 3 of Swords upside down, we don't we don't get over exuberant. Okay, we have balance between mind and heart. Between mind and heart. Yay! Then you have the Knight of Pentacles. I don't know, the Knight of Pentacles, he's a workhorse, and that's all I see. When it comes to managing our emotions and being our own knight in shining armor and barking at the moon and seeing things clearly, it's all just a lot of hard work, and we got to stay committed to it. You might as well make it fun, right? Keep smiling while you do it, whistle while you work. And to finish the message for Lisa Talcott, the 5 of Cups and the Hermit. Okay, well, the 5 of Cups talks about disappointment. And remember that there were 5 cups, 3 were on the ground, but 2 were still standing. You still got 2 good cups. So the Hermit says, turn inward, because there's value in those cups. Okay, you don't need to worry about those cups that fell down. they weren't going to stand anyway. I'm surprised there's no tower card to go along with that. Hey, Lisa Talcott, thanks a lot for joining me. Thanks for inviting me to read. Oops, wrong deck. Thank you, Tarot World. Amazing. Well, hello. I see we have a new friend. Sprinkle777, a.k.a. Haley. Hey, Sprinkle777. I'm going to make you a name tag, and for sure you can have a reading. Please stand by. By the way, I have on deck Arizona Raven, God's Flow, and Kimberly Bamford. And we're going to take a time out and welcome Sprinkle777. What? Okay, so I want to give you a shamrock, but what's with this? I feels like it's cut off here. I want to get a good one. Hey, Sprinkle777. I like your numbers, by the way. All right. Please stand by, Sprinkle. First, we're going to throw some cards for Kimberly. Well, I'm sorry, Arizona Raven. Arizona Raven. Here we go. These cards are for Arizona Raven out in my time zone. Thanks a lot for joining me, Arizona Raven. This card kept on, it showed up a second ago when I was shuffling and it just popped out again. So I'm just going to leave it out, Arizona Raven. Okay, there must be something else going on here. Let's find out. That's a weird. Wow. All right. That's how we're doing it. That was pretty simple. So first of all, Arizona Raven, you got the Ace of Pentacles, abundance, manifestation, opportunity, new career or financial opportunity, new venture, prosperity. I really like the image. That garden really looks 3D to me. I'm sorry, move it around like that. It looks so 3D to me, and I see the mountain range behind it. I like depth of perception. Anyway, congratulations on your Ace of Pentacles. Let's figure out the story behind it. The Three of Cups, there's some celebration going on. The Knight of Pentacles, the workhorse guy. The Queen of Cups. And the King of Pentacles. Wow. You might as well celebrate because you've worked so hard that you can now sit pretty like the Queen of Cups and the King of Pentacles. The Queen of Cups here says compassion, comfort, calm, nurturing, healing, emotionally stable, intuitive, and caring. You might as well celebrate because while you worked really hard, and maybe it shows on the outside, obviously there's a whole lot of work that went on the inside that equates to what you project in the outer world. The King of Pentacles closes with wealth, business, leadership, security, abundance, prosperity, and generosity. And this is like a pentacle that the universe is giving to you and that you also present to others. That's my suspicion. You're presenting it to me. I appreciate you blessing my podcast with your positive vibrations. Thank you, Arizona Raven. Very good, Arizona Raven. I got your message. You are welcome in advance. Next up, it's God's Flow. Here we go, God's Flow. This card's for God's Flow. Hey, God's Flow, we had a good time on the last show. I guess you were vibing with the cards just like me, huh? That's some cool stuff. See what I'm talking about? We're all in StarCard Podcast studio together whenever we want to be. These cards for God's flow. I spot your message, God's flow. I'm not sure what the tomorrow part means. I don't know if I'm coming out tomorrow. But anyway, here's some fun cards for you, God's flow. It's all for entertainment purposes only. That's why you keep coming back. Wow, the death card. I want to cheer because the death card talks about endings, beginnings, and transformations. Something cool is going on, right? All right, next. We have the Knight of Cups. Wow, this guy keeps showing up today. The Knight of Cups, the Knight in shining armor. How adorable with those flying babies in the sky. The Tower card. Stuff's getting knocked down, probably for a good reason. That's why that knight is being sent to take care of business. And he's got the death card at his back. Interesting, dramatic. The Five of Swords. There's some kind of winner take all attitude. This is where the drama and the conflict comes in. Yay, but you come out on top as the Empress. I've been waiting for someone to get the Empress card. Let's read about the Empress. Perfect message, perfect delivery. Here we go. The Empress. The Empress rests in a rich forest surrounded by Mother Earth. The symbol of Venus sits at her side, showing her connection to love and fertility. Her crown of 12 stars represents the signs of the zodiac. Connect with your nurturing femininity and enjoy the beauty of life. You may also be experiencing a burst of creativity. Here's one for a relationship for you. Open yourself up to love. This can also mean loving yourself. A child or pregnancy may be on the way. This is what it says in the book. This is all for entertainment purposes only. And then here's one for the career. Your career may beat a high point. This could also mean a strong mentor in the workplace. That person could be you. All right. Everyone knows the Empress is one of my heroes. Go check out the playlist, 5 Days with the Empress. That's over at StarCard Podcast. Here's the end of your message, God's flow. It's the 9 of Wands and the 10 of Cups. If you love what you do, you never have to work a day in your life. The 9 of Wands talks about having gone through the ringer and it's kind of like having gone to an amusement park and had the wildest rides. They thrilled you. They scared you. They might even almost made you, you have to go to the restroom right after the ride. Okay. But it was the 10 of Cups. It was a dream come true in lots of ways. It's what you asked for before you came down to surface planet Earth. You asked for all these experiences, all this drama with the Tower card coming down and all these guys causing problems all the time. It's to get you to become the Empress in the first place and rebalance your emotions and your psyche. Have I been getting carried away? Hey, God's flow. Thanks for inviting me to read. I hope that was a fun one. I'm going to give these a toss. I think there's like a real delay going on, everybody. I think like I'm maybe a minute ahead of everybody, gauging by what's going on in the chat. Here we go. Next up, it's Kimberly Bamford. All right, Kimberly Bamford. I'm going to throw the Robin Hood then. These cards are for Kimberly Bamford. Conspicuous keyboard warrior. Right on, Kimberly. You know how to have fun. Here we go. These cards are for Kimberly Bamford. Hey, you're welcome, God's flow. Thanks for your message. I appreciate it. All right, Kimberly. Yeah, let's go. Woo! These cards are for Kimberly. It's the Page of Pentacles. Let's go to the book. The Page of Pentacles. A young man in a flower field studies a pentacle with awe. In the distance, a plowed field is ready to be sown and yield a harvest. By the way, I think the Page of Pentacles is like the youngest character in the tarot. Ooh, the Hanged Man. Let's look at things in a different way. Yay, the Nine of Cups. This guy's this guy's buzzed. He's been in the partying in the parking lot there. It's the Nine of Cups guy. It's the wish come true. Wow, the Lover's card. The Lover's card. The power of two together. There's a lot of power indeed. And then the Five of Wands guys show up with their orchestrated drama and conflict. They're practiced, almost like football players, constantly mixing it up every 45 seconds. Every play is a new down. So let's start over here. Let's take another look at this young prospect. This young rookie could be a wish come true for our team, but we probably do have to train him. Wow. The High Priestess and the Hermit are two of the most introspective cards. And they both talk about power. This one can actively use the power in a discreet way, like a witch would, with just a wiggle of her nose. See Bewitched and Elizabeth Montgomery. Okay. No one really ever noticed her doing that stuff. It was a little bit harder for Jeannie, and I Dream of Jeannie, when the genie in the bottle was married to the astronaut. Meanwhile, as the Hermit, we're collecting all kinds of information, and we're doing it in our subconscious, and we may not even be aware of it. This is probably like some research and learning we're doing in our astral travels. So you probably have new people coming into your life for a good reason, and you can see it coming. It's like a draft, an astral draft. I don't know if any of this means anything to you, Kimberly. I sure am having fun saying sentences like that. So there you go. Way to go, Kimberly Bamford. Let me give this a toss. And hey, Sprinkle777, you're up next. Oops. Yeah, very good, Kimberly. You're welcome. Thanks for inviting me to read. All right. And you know what, Sprinkle777? I'm going to stick with the Robin Wood deck. These are some fun images. I hope you have a good, fun first reading. Here we go. These cards are for Sprinkle777. Thanks for joining us. Sprinkle777. These cards are for Sprinkle777. This card wants to come out for you. Yeah, we'll just leave it there. All right. Nice sunflower, Sprinkle777. Thank you. All right. This is for entertainment purposes only. Thank you very much, Tarot World, for all these wonderful messages today. Here we go, Sprinkle777. It's the moon. It's dark out where I am. Those are those two dogs from my dream last night that I didn't talk about. One of those dogs is domesticated. One is wild. But the moon card talks about the dream world. It talks about mystery and illusion. Wow. It's another nighttime scene. The woman has a blindfold on, maybe to assist her to sleep so that she can dream and use her dreamy swords whenever the circumstances call for that. You are an Oneironaut. You are an empowered dreamer. You already know how to control your dreams, do you? I'm making a guess. Another dreamy scene here. This is one of my favorite cards. It's a Two of Pentacles. Talks about balancing. When you look, you got like a guy on a tightrope in the clouds, and you got some kind of weird sailboat bird thing floating through the sky. How big is the moon? That's very dreamy. We got moons in all three cards here. Wow. And then we have the Page of Cups, who's the happy surprise guy. Pleasant dreams. Maybe you connect the dots between your dreams and what's called. look at this. How about another dream card for you? Look at outer space. It's the Eight of Wands. It talks about flight. It talks about travel. It also talks about something happening really soon. Hey, everybody, my connection is unstable. Stand by. I hope you're doing all right. Okay. Anyway, the Eight of Wands card, again, it's another space image here, Sprinkle. Here at StarCard Podcast, we might go, this is like the most nonfiction of all the cards in the deck. It actually looks like, a picture you would see in outer space almost, except for the wands. All right. So I don't know. You might be exploring some kind of secret space program identity or some kind of alter ego, like I suggested earlier in the show about the other planet where I go to this pool. Maybe you are already aware of other lives that you're leading. This is what people tune in for me to make up stories like this, Sprinkle. So the King of, is that the King of Swords, really? Yeah. Yeah, it's the King of Swords. The King of Swords says all that crazy stuff I just said. Well, it could be right. That's the mental clarity card. That's the truth card. And the Devil card indicates maybe the next step, which is letting go of something. And look at that. It even represents a shadow self, a shadow side. This is very dramatic, Sprinkle 777. And I hope it was fun and inspirational. I liked all the dream imagery. Oh, gee. I don't quite understand your last message, but I just want to say it was a pleasure to read for you. And I wish you a lot of luck, and I hope you come back again soon. Thank you very much. Hey, we do see the rear gunner in the house. Everyone knows I'm going to pull out the rear gunner's shamrock, and we're going to throw some cards for the rear gunner. Sprinkle 77. Thank you again. I appreciate it. Here we go, rear gunner. Rear gunner. Yeah, right on, rear gunner. Cool deal. It's not my business, rear gunner, but in my last career as a teacher, I would always check with kids on their projects and what they were working on, and it would be one way. Students would be annoyed with me because I would never let certain projects die or let kids forget things. So I hope, oh, you're welcome. I hope that whatever project you're working on, you're digging into, you don't have to share any steps with me, but do know that I'm monitoring in spirit, right? You thought what you did before was big. You got big plans ahead of you. There's so much information you can share. And you could really train people, I bet. Yeah. Hey, rear gunner. It's a weird thing. Of course, every time I'm talking to you, it feels like I'm saying these same things to myself. But anyway, rear gunner. Oh, the Five of Cups guy, the disappointment guy, big whoop. We're not worried about that. Cups fall down all the time. I'm not going to worry about spilled milk. I got 2 cups I can work with. Yo, here's the King of Swords. King of Swords, it's all about mental clarity. Head over heart. Disciplined, truthful, honest. Mental clarity and authority. Don't be sad about those cups. We could spend the rest of our lives being sad about those cups. Yo, the Chariot says, keep moving. The Chariot, movement, progress, action, integration, determination, willpower, control, direction, departure, and courage. That's right. You're the rear gunner. You're going to hit the ground running. That's probably like the wrong thing. There's probably like a better analogy I could use for a rear gunner. That's in a plane. But yeah, hit the afterburner because you're watching StarCard Podcast and you have faith, you have hope. Let's read about the StarCard. Hope, calm, faith, purpose, renewal, spirituality, fortune, good omen, rejuvenation. Don't forget to ask your spirit guides. When it comes, it's like a command in the plane, right? Hit the afterburners, spirit guides. I want to hit the afterburners, get both engines blasted. And then the Knight of Cups. Everyone's getting Knight of Cups today. Here we go. Knight in shining armor. Off you go, rear gunner. The Knight of Cups. Creativity, romantic, charm, imagination, beauty, Knight in shining armor, following the heart, the Prince Charming, and proposals. Maybe you need to make the proposals. And wow, check that out. You have the World card and the Eight of Cups. And the World card talks about completion, almost like it's a done deal. Le fait accompli. I said that wrong. Le fait accompli. That was still not correct. But look, everyone's going to see, how you walked away from whatever that disappointment was. But look at how good you look walking away. And look, they see your rear gunner, and you got like a regal cloak on. You look royal. You are the attention. You are the vanishing point here in this image. It's almost like this is the picture of your life plan. You will have completed everything, and everyone's going to see the Eight of Cups guy when you walked away and you made all that stuff happen, because you're the Knight in shining armor, and you were working with your spirit guide and being hopeful, and you were using both your emotions, but keeping it balanced because you're a very smart guy. You watch StarCard podcast. Oh my goodness. Hey, Sunny Side Up. We're at the end, but did you have a minute? If you want to drop another message in the chat, if you want me to read, I can make you a name tag. I don't even remember if I made one for you, but thank you, rear gunner. I appreciate you showing up again. It's great to have you here. Oh, good. Thank you for that message, rear gunner. Wow. Here I am making wild guesses. How about that? Thanks, rear gunner. What do you say, Sunny Side Up? Should I throw you some cards? I'm not going to make a name tag. I'll tell you what. The chat's a little bit slow. I'll throw 3 for you right now. Here we go, Sunny Side Up. These cards are for Sunny Side Up. How about 3 final cards today? Yeah, it's a long show already. Here we go. Glad you showed up, Sunny Side Up. These cards are for Sunny Side Up. It's our last reading today. Wow. Hey, Sunny Side Up. You're the emperor. You're sitting in the comfy chair. You're in control. And part of it has to do with your ability to look inward and use your higher self, employ your higher self to help you out, connect with your spirit guides. That's where your power comes from inside. And yeah, you got the 10 of Cups, Sunny Side Up. It's a dream come true for you. You make your dreams come true. Yes, Arizona Raven, I did do you also. I couldn't tell you when that was. All right, but I think I am done. Those are some nice cards there, Sunny Side Up. Thanks, Tarot World. Wow. I want to thank Tarot World for those elegant and lovely readings. I want to thank all of my guests in the chat today. I invite you all to explore the playlist at StarCard Podcast. Like, share, subscribe, and more importantly, go out there and make your own day. You made my day, and I appreciate it so much. I'm Breakaway Ray. I'll see you next time. Hi, Tiffany Marie. I see you. All right.